Hello, and welcome to Raph's Hall of Fame, where in every episode we have a guest who tries to convince me of why their underrated favorites deserves to be in my Hall of Fame. Today we have Nick D.
That's me.
This is a wild story. By the end of it, someone will die. No bullshit. You think I'm bullshitting? No bullshit. Somebody's gonna die. Before we get started, if you're watching this on the CH2 channel on YouTube, thanks, but stop it. What are you doing? Hop on over to Dropout, download Dropout today. I'm telling you, you can get all the podcasts way earlier. This has already been up. You're living in the past, man. And also tons more series like Total Forgiveness with Allie and Grant, where they do horrible stuff to each other to pay off their student loans. Okay.
All right.
Nick, do you have anything you'd like to plug? You're a photographer, excellent photographer.
Oh, thank you.
Based in Los Angeles.
I am, yeah. I'm a photographer based out of Los Angeles. So, you know, if you're an actor who happens to live in LA and you need headshots, or if you have some other exciting thing going on, if you need new shots for the Bumble, for the Tinder, hit me up. I'll make you look good. Ooh, they'll be swiping right on you so hard. Set the phone on fire.
Excellent. Now, right now you're based in Los Angeles, but you are originally from where?
I am from the southern New Jersey region of the world, just outside Philadelphia.
Right.
The greatest city on earth.
Yes. And you are here to talk about when All-Star Weekend came to the great city of Philadelphia.
Yes.
And like I said, by the end of this, someone will have died.
Someone will have died.
So what happened? How did this? So was this the first time that it came to Philadelphia, or like when? Or a better question, when the announcement came that they're going to have All-Star Weekend, NBA All-Star Weekend in Philadelphia, what was your response? How did you think it was going to go?
Well, okay, so here's what happened. We were originally supposed to have it in 99.
Okay.
And then the strike happened, and then they ended up being like, well, there's no basketball, so no more All-Star Weekend for you. So you can have it in 02. So the whole thing was kind of cursed from the jump, because it was like, it could have been, if you picture like what the 99 All-Star Weekend could have been versus what the 02 All-Star Weekend was, like in 98, for some reason there was no dunk contest. Yeah, I don't know why.
Remember that.
There just wasn't. So like in 99, like there could have been one and it could have been dope, but then there wasn't one in 99. So then the one that happened in 2000 was like the most electrifying dunk contest that never happened. And it's like, that should have been ours. Like, son of a bitch. We don't get that. The city ended up losing like $40 million because it had like widened streets and like redone all the bus stops and everything, like in anticipation of this event that never happened. Wilt Chamberlain died 8 months later. So like he never got to see it.
Wow. Like
a whole bunch, it sucks, right? So the 2002 one happens, and it was just kind of like, yay, finally, great. Money into the city. I was bartending at the time, so I was like, dope, come give me tips and like stuff like that. Like everyone just kind of, whenever you live in a city and like, a conference or something is coming there, you just kind of anticipate like parties, and if you're in the service industry, more tips and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then it turned out to just be like everyone was miserable. Nothing good happened. It's February. It's freezing to begin with. A lot of expectations that people had just kind of weren't met.
Right. Now, this wasn't a thing that I was even necessarily able to research. So I am, but I do know some of the points of your story.
Yeah.
What you were living in Philadelphia at the time.
Yeah.
What was the thing of, what R. Kelly was mentioned. I don't remember if we can mention this or not, but R. Kelly was throwing parties during this All-Star Weekend.
Yeah.
Because it brings a whole lot of stars, a whole lot of different celebrities.
Yeah.
This is 2002 R. Kelly.
2002 R. Kelly. This is 2 days after the initial allegations like came out. R. Kelly literally was throwing a party in Philadelphia.
Right.
So like if Philly, we're very like defensive about being Philadelphia just because people like to hate us because they ain't us. You know how it is? So
it's like a Napoleon syndrome type thing. Oh, no.
Except,
Napoleon wasn't from Philadelphia?
No, he wasn't. I don't know if you heard. He wasn't short. That's not a myth. See, that's the thing. People like to talk about. They like to speak ill of those of which they are jealous, like everybody on Philadelphia.
I am super
we're
jealous
actually,
of
you should be. No. I would like to, if you would allow me, to read some of the parties that were listed for that weekend and how much Philadelphia loves its own and loves to plug its own. On February 7th, we started off with the Will Smith and Friends party.
Excellent.
Yes!
This sounds great.
At the Electric Factory, which is kind of like it's like the Wiltern in LA, or like if you've ever been to like the Roseland Ballroom in New York, it's kind of like that level of venue. It's like, it's a dope place to go see something. But featuring Biz Markie and DJ Jazzy Jeff. Biz Markie is from South Jersey. I don't know if a lot of people know that. They think he's from New York for some reason. And then on February 8th and 9th, the Philly All-Star concert featuring Jill Scott, Music Soul Child, The Roots, DJ Jazzy Jeff, and Biz Markie. So at the Electric Factory again for the next 2 nights in a row.
On the one hand, even in 2002, this is already a blast from the past a little bit for most of these names. Yeah. But also, just going down that list, these are incredible people, and
That's a dope lineup.
Yeah, I forget how many people come out, how many artists come out of Philadelphia.
Yeah, we were like the original R&B music scene.
Yeah.
It's Philadelphia.
Right.
A lot of people forget all that.
Yeah, Boys to Men. That's incredible.
Yeah, Boys to Men played Missy Elliott in like a celebrity basketball game.
It's just Boys to Men versus
Missy Elliott. She took them all down. February 10th, there was at the Electric Factory again. We have like 3 venues in Philly, and 2 of them are the same. Is the Old School All-Stars party featuring
that
DJ Jazzy Jeff and Biz Markie. And then later on, it's like Jay-Z will also be hosting parties throughout, but won't be performing at any of them.
Whoa!
But also, Biz Markie is scheduled to perform at no less than half a dozen parties. Like, we can't stop with ourselves. Okay, and one of the things that is listed is R. Kelly on the 10th will be hosting and in case you guys forgot what city we're in Philadelphia.
We are,
right?
yeah.
R. Kelly will be hosting the Chicago NBA Players Ball featuring Chicago players and Chicago DJs. You in the wrong town, boo-boo. Like, we might not run you out of town for whatever the child porn stuff was, but like, repping Chicago in our city will get you murdered. We're not here for it.
Right, yeah.
And that was like the morning, it was like 2 days after. So, okay, this is how much also just like no one gave a crap about Philadelphia, even the NBA. So this particular All-Star weekend happened the exact same weekend as the opening ceremonies for the 2002 Winter Olympics, and they were both carried on NBC.
Wow! So NBC was winning that year,
I guess, but it was like the All-Star game was more of like an afterthought to them. They were just getting, because they're not going to like not show Michelle Kwan over, people like the figure skating is like what everybody is to. They're not going to give that up to show like the dunk contest, which is one of the worst dunk contests in history, by the way.
It's almost always disappointing. This year was good, and then the Vince Carter year was good. Was that 2000? That might have been 2000.
This year was a year, like I think first it was the first year that they went down to 4 people instead of 6. And they also did like this tournament style thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it was like, well, if the first 2 players didn't do well enough, it was like, you go sit down, I guess. Yeah. And then we just get to watch everybody else. And it was just like dumb. Yeah. No one cared. Yeah. Nobody that was in it, nobody cared about. It was really, God, and it could have been, there was no 360s, there were no honey dip, there was nothing. It was bad. R. Kelly, I guess, I think he did the national anthem or something for the opening ceremonies on February 8th in Salt Lake.
Of the Olympics.
Yeah. And then the cops were like, oh, hey, child porn allegations. And then he flew to Philly, made a statement on the 10th saying, I didn't do that, and then held his Chicago Players Ball like that evening.
Oh, my God.
It was like, because you like make it look like you care any less.
Yeah, really? Jesus. And that was all. Wow. Well, okay. Well, yeah. Right now, it's looking good for getting into the Hall of Fame just for the amount of insanity.
So, it was Michael Jordan's last NBA All-Star game that he started, and he scored 8 points.
This is as a Wizard? This is
his first year as an official Wizard. We had just lost, I think, AI scored 5 points.
No way.
Yeah, he had a 2-pointer and a 3-pointer. That's it. That's all he did. The entire starting lineup for the East didn't even match. Kobe, I think, scored 31 on his own.
Oh.
And I think the entire starting lineup for the East scored like 20. When like Tracy McGrady was the highest scorer for the East. He had like 24 points, and he was not a starter, obviously. When they were announcing, this is how classy we are. When they're announcing all the players for the West, like Kobe comes out, and we all hate Kobe.
You're right.
And the crowd is booing him fiercely. And they had like trotted out a bunch of like local children to like high five the players as they're coming out and stuff or whatever. And even the like you hear some little 10-year-old kid on the mic like, "Boo, don't touch me, I hate you." Some little Philadelphian is like, "Boo, Kobe."
What is it about Philadelphia? What is the thing that gives you that attitude? Well, you're saying, is it because people shit on you? Is it because like New York shits on you?
Here's the thing, like New York is a huge market, and a lot of people do what New York says, and New York, here's the thing, living in Philly is just as dope as living in New York for like a quarter of the price. And they're jealous. And that is what it is.
Okay.
It's a combination of that. So then they start hating on you. And it's like anything where like when you're told for a long enough time that you suck, you kind of start to believe it. You know what I mean? So then we can't help but just ruin everything that we touch after a while. And it's also that kind of thing of like, I'm sure this doesn't happen to you, but like if you're like in a fight with someone and like as a woman and then like a dude's just like, well, you're just being a bitch. And it's like, well, now anything that I ever say is me being a bitch. So like you've like won that argument by making that assertion. So now it's like if you say that like, well, everyone from Philly is like a piece of trash that can't get out of their own way, then every time we ever do anything, it's feeding into that stereotype.
Yes.
You know, it's like we can't win a Super Bowl without hijacking a trash truck and writing "fuck tomb" on the side of it and like eating horse poop. Like we can't not be those people anymore, no matter what we do.
So with this, you said before we started that this is why Philadelphia can't have nice things.
We ruin it every time.
Now you're in the middle of All-Star Weekend.
Yeah.
And then outside of your apartment building?
Yeah.
What happens?
Okay, so 2 things happened. I'm guessing they're unrelated. So the first thing happened, like the night of the game, I was coming home from work, and it was like crime-ridden city. It was like, we can't have anything. We can't have like people pouring into our city without us showing off like just that weird. We have to get violence and fights and just be those people.
You gotta like alpha the situation.
Someone cut someone off there. I remember it was like a dude in a black Escalade was like coming this way down 12th, and then some dude was coming up Walnut, and like the dude in the Escalade ran a light and almost hit the dude coming this way, and then got mad and then stopped in the middle of the intersection and got out and just started shooting a gun off in the middle of the intersection, like because the other guy's like long gone at this point in time. Right. Like, what are you shooting? Why are you doing this? I was like, get off the bus. I was like, I'm gonna get back on the bus.
Did the police come? Oh no,
No, the dude just like took off. He like got out, just like shot a bunch, and then got back into his Escalade and took off. And it was because it's Philly. Everybody was like, it's over.
Let's go about our day.
And then the next morning, picture it, February 11th, I go out to take the trash out, and in back of my building is a dead body.
I told you.
Dead body. Just like laying in the alley. It was like some like it looked like some picnic dad that thought he was going to go watch the basketball. Like,
oh no!
Yeah.
So it wasn't like a super old person.
No, it was like a youngish like white dude. He was kind of balding. He had like a Ned Flanders sweater on.
Oh my god!
Yeah, he was on his stomach. I was like, what? And I've seen 3 dead bodies in my life, and like 2 were at funerals, and 1 is this guy. So I went running back inside, and I'd love to say like I ran back inside and called the cops, but it was no. I ran back inside and was like, roommates, guys, dead body, come look. So we all go out and look, and then my roommate calls the cops. She calls 911, and because it's Philly, the operator is like, are you sure that it's dead? And my roommate's like, yeah. And she goes, well, that's not really an emergency anymore. You just have to call the regular cops.
Oh, no.
She's like, well, there's kind of nothing we can do at this point in time. I guess call the regular cops.
She couldn't transfer you or nothing?
She did not give a shit. I don't know if you've ever seen any of those like crime shows where it's like the Philly 911, but it's like famously do not give a shit.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait, but okay, so how long? Oh my God.
5 hours. 5 hours later, the regular cops finally come, put a tarp over the guy, tell us all to go back inside. No one questioned us. No one asked us.
Was it? Do you think? Were they like, look, it's busy. It's All-Star
I think
Weekend.
that's part of what it was. I'm sure
Okay.
this was not the first dead body that they found that weekend, considering how everybody was acting.
Jesus.
And I'm sure that they had like other actual like active stabbings and shootings and shit to go deal with it. They were like, if it's already dead, I guess just go throw a tarp on it and
Right.
see what we can do.
Now, this would just be your opinion, but I'm asking your opinion when
Yes.
you saw the dead body. What ran through your head of what could possibly, allegedly, purportedly, maybe be the cause of death?
I think it was something where like he got, because here's the thing, I didn't live in a bad neighborhood. I lived in the gayborhood. Like I lived in like the West Hollywood of Philadelphia. Like I
Right.
lived in so we didn't know if it was like who's murdering you in our alley? That makes absolutely no sense.
Did it look like it was a violent death? Did it look like they passed away violently? Or
Well, we couldn't see. I couldn't see. There was no blood.
Okay.
Like it wasn't like he didn't get like stabbed. He wasn't shot or anything as far as I could see. So we don't know if he just like. If we think that it might have been one of those things, because we lived right next door to this like very famous gay club called Woody's, so like we think that it
like
might have been
OD'd or
like
something.
he was like secretly like gay dad, you know, and like was going to
Oh.
the city like for some shit, and
Okay.
then like got caught up, like did drugs or something that he
Yeah.
couldn't handle and like OD'd in our alley. Like that's the official story that we have concocted for ourselves, because
Yeah.
the police never asked us any questions, and like we never heard anything about it ever again. It was like they put a tarp over him. They told us to go inside. We went inside. I kind of peeked my head out. An hour later, it was gone. There was no trace.
Right. Oh, wow.
Yeah, gone.
They didn't even have the courtesy to be like, all right, we're taking this body away.
No, because
now."
it wasn't our body. So what are you gonna
Okay, all right, fair enough.
tell me
Fair
about?
Holy cow.
Yeah.
That's like,
It was a
okay, yeah.
lot.
You're the kid in,
Stand by me.
oh, I was going to say Boys in the Hood, but yeah.
Or
I guess
either,
both of those work.
either.
You want to see a dead
You
body?
want to see a said body?
That's- Yeah,
you want to
that's
see a said body?
See,
Wow.
a D-
Wow, I didn't know that a person could do that. Jesus. You want to see a dead body? That was me. I ran back inside. I got my 5 roommates. I was like, yo,
Yeah.
y'all want to see a dead body?
That was you.
That was me.
Ooh, an all-star weekend. Uh-huh. How many did you make out with a lot of tips? Oh no. Oh no. You went through a lot.
Not really more than usual. I worked in this like folk club.
Yeah.
So I don't know that was really the particular like demographic for people that want to watch basketball.
My God,
know?
that's super.
I wasn't
crazy
at any of DJ Jazzy Jeff or Biz Marquis's parties, so I didn't make the tips off of that.
Yeah.
I was at like Ex Monkeys basically were like doing like solo shows. Like,
God.
At
You
my
deserve
club.
to at least you deserve to at least get a couple extra tips for that.
Yeah.
That's insane.
I saw a dead
just
body.
for living through. Yeah, just
I should
for
have
living
gone
through it.
around to everybody that night and work and be like, guys, I'm real traumatized. I saw a dead body. Can you help a girl out and see if anybody gave me anything?
Have you ever met DJ Jazzy Jeff, or you didn't go to any of the
oh
shows?
my God,
but
that's so funny that you said that. Okay, so there was I almost did, and well, not that I almost did, but like I could have, and it was a thing where like you could win something and I didn't win it, and I was so just like inordinately mad, as if like this was a thing that could happen. So there's this dude, he's like a local celebrity in Philly named Pat Croce, and I think he used to own the Sixers, and I think he used to be a big up at Comcast or like something like that. But anyway, his whole background is from like personal training and sports and stuff.
Okay.
And in like 1992, he held this thing at what used to be the Spectrum, where the Sixers used to play, called the I Feel Great Show. And it was basically like to get local kids to come and like, it was like, get out of the bleachers and like dance around. And like, that would be like your workout for the day. And like, you know, like, don't be a fat Philadelphia slob, like get up and move, you know, don't just eat cheesesteaks and yell at the Eagles, get up and move. So because it was like 92, so they weren't that famous yet. It was DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince were going to be there, Will Smith, right? But still going by the Fresh Prince. And, they did basically like a Globetrotter like level game like against the Sixers and like it was like, you know, like a fun day and stuff. But like they had this thing where like basically every kid that was there was entered in to win a bike. And if you won a bike, then like you got to go down onto the floor and DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince would like hug you and like take a picture and like present you with this bike. And all day I was like, yo, I'm gonna win this bike. I was like, it's definitely gonna be why I'm here. The Lord put me here so I could win this bike and meet DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. And of course didn't win. And was like so inordinately pissy about it. Like I was like,
that's the Philadelphia in you.
It is. Yeah, I think that's another good point as to why we can't have nice things is because the second a nice thing is announced, that's like we fixate on that nice thing and then it doesn't happen and we're just like, nah, like flipping tables. And you know, it's like winning the lottery. Like there is not a single Philadelphian that ever buys a lottery ticket thinking like, you know, I'm burning $1, whatever. If I win, I win. It's like, no, I'm going to win the lottery tonight. And then you don't, and you just like don't understand how that didn't happen. It's like, but I bought the ticket and I'm special and therefore like I should have won. It's like, no, it's not how that works, boo-boo.
I love that.
It takes a while to kind of beat that out of you.
Yeah. So do you feel like Philadelphia, the city, had I mean, it's a smaller city. I know it's a great city.
We're sixth largest in the nation.
Okay, so you'd had the infrastructure to like handle like an influx of
because it wasn't like the Olympics.
Right.
Like, well, the only reason why they like widened the streets and stuff is because also the next year, no. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, because we were supposed to get the All-Star game in 99, and then we got the Republican convention in 2000. So they had done a lot of infrastructure work just to be able to handle all of that stuff.
Oh, okay.
Because, I mean, you're talking like half the streets downtown were still cobblestone. Like, it's just how it was. So they had to like pave them over and widen them out and stuff like that. So they did have to do things like that, but we didn't have to like build stadiums or do, like we had. It's just an All-Star game. It's not that.
Right.
That big of a deal. But like we see that, they trotted Elton John out to sing Philadelphia Freedom during halftime because every single time that every 4th of July we trot his ass out to do that. Like we can't ever not. I think like the beginning of the game was like a drum and fife band came out, obviously dressed like, there's like some dude dressed like Ben Franklin, some dude like all of the colonial dudes. We can't ever stop doing that. We're very excited any time that we're put like on like a national stage or like the world stage or whatever, because there is that thing where we want to prove so bad that we're not losers and like we're really dope.
Do you think having been the former capital has anything to do with it?
Oh, yes.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Because
I just pulled that out of my ass.
No, because we're so like, you're welcome for all the freedom, dickheads. Like, yeah, that was the Declaration of Independence. That was us. Maybe you've heard of it. Like, you're welcome. And then took like New York got to be the capital first off before it was DC. So it's like another reason to hate them.
Right.
But it's like, yeah, we feel like we did all the work.
Yeah.
And we don't get any of the credit for basically birthing a nation.
Yeah.
We're the U.S.'s mom, yo, and we get no credit for that shit. Dad gets all the credit. We get nothing.
All right.
Because every 4th of July is a month-long celebration. It starts June 4th.
In Philadelphia.
Yeah, it's the Wawa Welcome America.
What is Wawa?
What?
It's a sandwich place?
It's it originally was like a deli. It's like a deli and convenience store. And then they started
7-Eleven. No, not a 7-Eleven.
No, it's an actual like fresh deli. It's not like gross like heated up pizza slices and stuff.
Right. Okay.
I'm trying to think of anything comparable because most delis don't have a full-on convenience store attached to it.
It's its own thing.
And then they started adding gas stations to it when I was like in high school, I think.
It sounds
which was weird.
Lot
so now everybody is like, oh, it's a glorified gas station. And I'm like, it never started as a gas station.
Okay.
But no, the food's, the meatball shorty is dope. Okay. This is, you know what? Just the fact that you had to go through,
I'm torn on whether or not, the only thing that I'm really torn on is whether or not the 2002 All-Star Weekend goes into the Hall of Fame or you personally. You went through a lot on this weekend for no extra tips.
For no extra tips.
No help from the emergency response
None. Could
people.
not care less.
Wow, holy cow. R. Kelly comes in and and destroys things.
Chicago and my city. You get out of here.
That's true.
What if the
You know
Roots and DJ Jesse Jam
Yeah,
were like
they did that
flew
to
to Chicago and were like, we're going to have the Philadelphia party. Like,
no,
you don't do that.
Yeah,
we're too
that'd be an
classy to
issue.
do something like that.
I have nothing to say about that. Yes.
You could agree.
I agree.
There we go. Yeah.
All right. I am ready to make a ruling on this one. And I will say that the 2002 All-Star Weekend is in my Hall of Fame. Yeah! How could it not be? Whoa! They're here.
What was that?
It was a clap. It was an applause.
Oh.
Wow. That is, you went through quite an ordeal. I hope that never happens to you again.
Me too.
But now that you live in Los Angeles, we've happened to host a bunch of stuff. We're going to host the Olympics at some point pretty recently.
Were we? And then we didn't get it. We've already hosted it twice, right?
Yeah,
so,
I think it's going to happen again. But hopefully that doesn't happen to you at that point.
I don't need to see any more dead bodies.
What do you have to plug? What's your photography business, or what? Or is there a handle?
You can get at me. My website is nickdphotography.com, NICKDEE photography.com. There's a lot of information there. You can get me on Instagram. Follow me on Insta. I'll follow you back at nickdphoto. Yes, that's my Instagram. My Twitter is just me screaming into the void about politics and feminism. I'm not even going to give you my Twitter.
So you definitely got to jump on that. Jump on that right now.
It's just me retweeting like every super like liberal, like it's nothing you can't find anywhere else.
Well, we'll find out once we follow you.
Great. Don't follow me.
Do it. Follow her and then get on Dropout. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye. Hi, I'm Raphael, and if you like that video, subscribe to Dropout, where you can chat with the cast in the exclusive Dropout Discord. And that is a chest thing promise, which is almost as good as a real promise.